What does tradespeople do once their bodies quit on them as they age, but before they can retire? I've been fortunate to have been installing floors and showers since 91 started when I was 15. I'm still doing good. I don't have knee or back problems yet. I invested in very good knee pads several years ago, which probably been key. I love what I do, could never sit behind a desk. I like the hard work. Eat right, exercise. I've never done drugs except we'd quit drinking several years ago. I do have friends in the trade that wasn't so fortunate. I did take 4 years away from tile and serve in the Corps as an infantryman to try something new, but got out and got back to flooring. Hopefully find a position in their field where I'm less likely to use my back and legs and use my mind to do my job. Had the same conversation with my wife. Like get a sweet technician job relying on electronics and electrical work, or even a management position before I have to spend my last days pulling tires and doing brakes, or any kind of heavy line work. I'm at least smart to use my muscles and knee pads. But that shit gets old quick, no matter how much you get paid. Smart tradesmen take care of their bodies from a young age. Your body doesn't have to wear out before you retire. I worked with a courier millwright who was climbing Everest only to the base camp, but still impressive at age 61. Tradesmen's bodies wear out because they're too macho to take care of themselves, just fucking stretch occasionally and work harder than they actually should. Work smart, not hard. Don't be afraid to get an extra set of hands to help pick up something heavy. This is a problem, and why it is so important to live beneath your wage, so that retirement investments can start early, so that you can make career choices to meet your needs as you go along. It's good money, but you can always outspend your income if you don't create a budget, even a multi-million-dollar budget if that is you, and stick to it. Working to own the business is one way tradesmen can keep going, so other people keep the physical stuff chugging along. One of my friends from grade school is in construction. He's literally been working for the same place since high school. He also does roofing jobs for extra cash on the weekends. He's saved over $2 million currently, and he's 44. His body is definitely giving out on him though, and he is probably an alcoholic and slight addiction to opiates. He said many times he won't make it to 60 doing this job, but also plan ahead and saved as much as he could. What they should do is exercise outside of work. I've heard I don't really exercise because my job is physical, which is nonsense. You should exercise no matter who you are. You should also go to a medical professional if you have pain, difficulty performing job, daily living tasks, or concerns about your body holding up. You don't have to suffer in silence and work through that stuff. It can lead to much more severe consequences the longer you put it off. Not everyone's bodies quit completely. Most can still carry on in productive ways. They write books. They mentor younger people. They become consultants, and many more things, like investing and advising. Some take that time to be with and enjoy their family. They find that learning to slow down and watch grandchildren can be more satisfying than carpentry, or looking at a building they help construct. As fulfilling as that is, even ibuprofen and Tylenol like candy. I made it to 55 in that construction job. I had to stop working construction. Fortunately, my wife did pretty well and had invested our money wisely. I worked for 10 more years, a couple of months a year, as a disaster housing inspector contracted to FEMA. 12 years after retiring from construction, I am still somewhat damaged, but much, much better physically. I have a friend who went into construction when we were both 17. Now we're 35 and he makes $60 an hour, but two things. Point 1. His body is shit. 2 knee surgeries and back surgery. 2. Horrible with money. Barely has $5,000 in savings. No retirement fund. But he always brags he makes double what I make in an hour. I'm like, alright man, I'm proud of you, but put that money to use before it's too late. Truck driver, 41 years. Bought my own and ran it until I got diabetes too. Was working around 100 hours a week and bad food, etc. But put my daughter through university. Got it under control, worked 8 years as an employee driver, then mild heart attack. Aim back at work after 3-month rehab. I do have disability insurance, so if it happens again, hopefully I will live and collect insurance. Change careers, I mean. I had a buddy who worked a trade that caused him to have hip surgery in his mid-30s and he couldn't go on. Now he runs a plant nursery at supplies garden stores in western Colorado. He was lucky in the sense that he had a family with the money to set him up in a new business venture, but I imagine a lot of tradespeople get completely screwed over. Some of them become building inspectors. The best inspectors I know had previous experience in the trades. I don't see it as much, but some used to get involved in another aspect of building, like putting together material orders at the lumber yard. And finally some transfer to a lower impact form of construction like trim work. Some of them just keep going, just way slower. A relative is getting old and is having a hard time doing flooring. He said he hired some young guys, but that nobody wants to work these days. I assumed that just meant no one was willing to put up with his bullshit for such low pay. But he can't afford to retire, so he's screwed. Dear bodies do not always fail. If you work smart, your body will hold up just fine. A lot of people in trades tend to be in pretty good shape physically. Not all, but most. Trades are not quite as physical as they have been in the past. Now, you have lots of fun power tools and equipment they didn't have many years ago. Landscaper coming up on 15 years total. You just truck through it. Met many guys who put stuff down to wince for a sec, then get back to it. You learn to work around each other's injuries on a good crew. Seagork and Mo and Chico will do all the shovel work, but only Manuel can lift the concrete and Gero digs the holes. RK part-time by then. Of course, if you're that smart, you'll probably make foreman or supervisor anyway. And then you basically work as long as you can walk, cause you aren't doing hard labor anymore. When you're young and starting out, it benefits you to work with an old journeyman. You're healthy and fit, but don't know anything. When you're in your 30s and 40s, you can do it all, have experience. When you're old, you work with kids teaching them what to do, and they do the heavy lifting. My brother-in-law died of an overdose after years as a pill popper. Don't want to spend the last half of your life crippled and in pain. I got out of doing concrete after seeing how fucked up his hands and back were by 40 and didn't want to be crippled by that age myself. We get off the tools, as we call it in my industry. Go from working on the floor or out in the field to maintenance planning or technical advising. It's a logical next step for people with the experience and knowledge who no longer want to destroy their bodies but want to stay in that line of work. Mine's still working. Takes osteoparacetamol at night. Gets shoulders injected by rheumatologist every 3 months. Getting a knee replacement in the next couple of months. Keeps on keeping on. Would probably die of boredom if he didn't work. He's that generation. A lot of us slowly move off the tools as we get older, start focusing more on sales or management. In my 20s, I was on the tools 90 of the time. Now it's closer to 10-20. I use my experience and expertise to sell the jobs and let the younger guys install it. 2002, I had a serious back injury. 6 vertebrae fused with hardware. It ended my career and I have incredible pain issues every day. My surgeon was honest and told me that he could fix me mechanically, but I will live in pain. I collect SSDI and drive PT for Uber. I'm on disability because of a work injury working in a warehouse. Pain pills get me through each day, but I'm still in pain. Sometimes I have to do something more physical than I should be doing. The pain meds don't help. I just have to live with it. Move to a less expensive country and retire. I know a person who worked as a postal worker for 20 years, took out his partial retirement at 41 years old, moved to a tropical country, hasn't worked a day since, incredibly happy with his decision. I am in the trades HVAC. I started out as a service technician. I am now an estimator. Much easier on my body, make more money to ... Most hope to fill in a management position or other easier on your body job. Or do pills. Realize they fucked up by overworking to the point that they will not be able to enjoy their retirement like they had hoped, and then complain that the younger generations don't know anything about hard work. Crabs in the bucket. When applicable, I've seen many move to different areas in the same trade. Mechanics can become service advisors or work on the parts counter. Electricians can move into sales, or they can move to a completely different career path. Supervisory roles. teaching, trades, college. Lots of things to do after you start aging out of the shop floor. Some guys can still do it, but there's no shame in allowing aging to push you towards more of a teaching role. We simply die, right to work as much as possible until longer able, then burn through whatever meager saving and retirement. By then we outlive our money and eventually die of a combination of sickness and poor health. My husband is really struggling with his leg. He already had surgery once, but he is only in his early 40s, so has many more years of work technically. Our personal situation has recently changed, but it isn't confirmed. And some definitely not all tradespeople will shit-talk people who went to college and say going into the trades is always the better option, but will conveniently ignore the toll it takes on the body. They go into management or back to school. Make sure that you get your training from a regionally accredited institution, e.g. community college. It's more likely the credits will transfer to a 4-year program. I'm trying to figure that out right now. Brewer, mid-30s, recently diagnosed with a vascular necrosis of both femoral heads. Laid off a week later this past Friday. Let me know if you get a good answer. As a blue-collar worker who makes decent money, I save as much as I can to hopefully be able to retire early. I'm feeling pretty good at 40, so hopefully I have quite a few years of working hard left in me. They should have started their own company and been training staff up before that point. Alternatively, they should have switched to a management position. Don't expect to swing a hammer until you're 65.